Hi guys, welcome back. We're gonna do Q&A with Robin and Richard about whatever you guys want. Don't Starve, apartment, all sorts of things. So first question from the chat is from Eve to me. I don't know if you thought about this yet, but do you think play-by-play together will become a thing for more than tonight? I do. This was kind of like a test case, and I think it's gone really well. What do you guys think? Robin, Richard, did you have fun?
It's so fun. Richard and I were talking about how we wanted to play Monaco.
Yeah, we were like, we should play Monaco, and also let's just keep playing Don't Starve together.
Yeah. That's actually interesting. Like we used to. Richard, I think you were on the Minecraft server that we ran for a while. I don't remember if Robin was.
Yeah, I was on there for a little bit.
Okay. It was easier to run like a persistent Minecraft server that people could kind of like drop in and out of because it didn't have the same sense of stakes, I guess. Like, death is not permanent in that game. You lose a lot when you die, but you don't lose the world.
Yeah, it's weird. Death in Don't Starve feels like an element of the world. When you die, the whole world changes, versus in Minecraft, it's a very player agnostic space. It doesn't care too much whether there's a player in it or not. Versus Don't Starve, where like things start going dark. There are all around when you're close to death. Then you die, the other players get affected by your death. So persistent world doesn't necessarily work because the players have to inhabit it.
Right. No, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know how you would do that.
Admittedly, like every player's perspective of the world is different. So if you're crazy and you're seeing stuff, that's different stuff from what players who are sane see. So I guess it really depends. It's like it depends on the player's individual perspectives.
The real question is, do two crazy players see the same crazy?
Well, I noticed as a ghost, I saw the monsters attacking you while you were crazy.
All right, I guess so then.
Yeah.
You didn't help me out.
I wish I could, but
I do
can't haunt haunted things.
That's true. I do think that those monsters were real in the sense that like everybody who could perceive them would perceive the same ones. That's interesting. Okay. Here's a question about... So the answer to that is, I feel like this was a successful test. Play-by-play together is not going to be a like weekly thing. But there are a bunch of designers who are friends of mine who I would love to bring on to play different games, and Robin, Richard, I would love to have you guys on again to play more of this or to play Monaco. So I think that's a great idea. We will definitely do more of this kind of thing in the future.
Yeah. Robin and I were both saying to each other, we should just do tons of this. This is really fun.
This is just fun, right?
It's like way more fun than I was expecting. I thought like, Twitch streaming would be like stressful or something, but it's just like, let's just play.
Well, yeah, you just play again.
People get really bored of us wandering groups, so some people found it amusing.
Here's a question about how does this game encourage leadership roles? Is it necessary for someone to take charge, one person to take charge, and did that happen between us? Did we have that kind of dynamic?
It might have been better if we had.
So it was tricky because Robin kept running off and doing her own thing and just like making blithe comments about all sorts of stuff.
Then, like falling behind and wandering off.
I was falling behind because I was trying to learn more about the game. Well, I guess you were doing the same thing. You were like charging ahead, learning more about the game. It's like different ways to learn about it. I feel like we all took charge on different things, which was interesting. So like, I noticed, Sean, you would build an axe and you would go chop trees.
Yeah.
And I was like looking through what was available to build and figuring out the crafting and what we would need there.
Yeah.
And then Robin was going around exploring, gathering a whole ton of stuff and gathering food, which was really helpful. So there's so much to pay attention to in the game that each person can take a different role. And I guess as long as you explain it like from the outset, like I'm going to get food for us, then that's good enough. I think that's how these kind of like hunter-gatherer communities kind of work.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah. That there's a level of specialization. And we did that explicitly for a little while, and I think then we did it implicitly after that. So one sort of comment, I guess, is that the game doesn't include voice chat, as far as I know. I mean, we're on a separate Skype call, and that's how we're able to talk to each other. What do you think the experience of this game would be if you couldn't talk to the people you were playing with?
It seems horrible.
I think, like, I'm generally okay with typing, like, for chat, but this is such a fast-paced game.
Yeah, I can't imagine how you do that.
Yeah, I think there is a typing chat, but, like, it would take so long. Like, I am under attack. Like, you know, I'm gonna die of starvation in the next 2 seconds. You only notice when you're about to die.
And like, yeah, that's true. And there were a bunch of times when trying to navigate the map, like, you know, Richard, you would find that there are beefalo over here, and now Robin and I are trying to figure out, like, where the hell you are, or if somebody gets lost. Like, without voice communication, I don't know that we ever could have managed that.
Yeah, you lose so much time typing. And like context switching what you're doing, and then having to like grab again at what you were doing before, we wouldn't have been anywhere near as efficient. And that's not something that you would have to worry about in a single player version of Don't Starve.
Right. So, no, absolutely. Really,
yeah.
So, do you think, obviously including voice chat in a game like this is a huge technical challenge, but do you think that the designers either decided, so they decided at some level not to do that, right? They could have put resources into that ended up going somewhere else.
Well, it's still in beta too, though.
It is still in beta, so maybe it's something that will be added. I guess my real question is, did the designers add anything to the game to mitigate what seems to be a problem with the lack of voice chat? I mean, did we play this game quote unquote wrong? Did we get a different experience than your typical intended player would get because we were talking to each other? Would most people who play Don't Starve together play it without voice?
So yeah, go Ron.
I was just gonna say, I noticed, I think in the lobby, it looked like there were games that held up to like 20 people, and so I wonder if some of the intended, if you play with strangers, if it's supposed to be more Minecrafty, where you might encounter other players in settlements, and you can just silently pass things on to them or do whatever you like, but it ends up kind of being a weird solo game where you can actually run into actual humans on occasion.
And there's not really the level of cooperation that we, were expecting.
So then they're sort of relying on emergent communities, so to speak, versus like we're friends who got together and we're going to collaborate. That would be really interesting to play as well. I think Don't Starve Together, the devs probably, number one, left it out for technical reasons, but also it's tied in with Steam, and Steam has voice chat. So they're probably relying on that. And if not that, so like your friends list is your Steam friend list.
Yeah.
So you would just go into a group voice chat with your Steam friends. I mean, it's not explicitly stated anywhere in the game, but I think that's probably what they were intending, since it's all tied into Steam.
Yeah, they can assume that everybody has that capability.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's a great point. Okay. Regarding the discussion of if and or when to dig up graves, that was interesting conflict resolution that happened outside of the game. Does the game have any way to resolve those kinds of conflicts within it, and should it or shouldn't it? So, how do you guys interpret this question? What is the interesting conflict resolution that happened outside of the game? Was it?
I thought it was Sean going, Richard, stop digging up graves.
Okay.
Richard going, I'd still do it again anyways. Whatever.
So, hey, there's a garden gnome. I want more garden gnomes.
And also, if I recall, that happened again while you were both dead and I was running around trying to set things on fire.
Yeah, so Ron was just like destroying things, and we were just like contemplating what the best option would be.
Yeah.
I think the conflict resolution, we were discussing. We were discussing, like, if we were to dig up graves, what would be the best option? And we came to the conclusion that, like, the best option would be to just, like, go into a group voice chat with your Steam friends. I mean, it's not explicitly stated anywhere in the game, but I think that's probably what they were intending, since it's all tied into Steam.
Yeah.
like, when is the right time? Like, I think we both agreed that digging up graves has utility. It's useful in certain circumstances, but it's very specific circumstances. And so we were trying to decide amongst ourselves, like, when would we do it?
When is that appropriate?
Exactly. I mean,
Because
digging up graves is available right at the start of the game.
Right.
Once you have a shovel. So you can dig with abandon if you really wanted to.
And it seems like, if I'm interpreting those systems correctly, that doing that, like, then summons a ghost the next night who will come and haunt the campsite.
No, so what happened was I was digging, and so there are marked graves and unmarked graves. I was digging unmarked graves, and I got some gemstones, I got the garden gnome, and then I digged at one which had a headstone, and I got, what did I get? I think I got the nightmare fuel, and then I dug at another one with a headstone, and a ghost popped out of it. And immediately I think my sanity dropped to 0, and it started chasing me. So it wasn't, I don't think it was even nighttime.
It just came out of the grave. I didn't see you again until nighttime. Yeah. Okay.
So I think it's just, either it's random, or maybe there's, like, don't dig at ones with headstones or something.
Yeah.
I don't know yet. But it's the sort of thing that I'd want to experiment with and figure out.
No, I think that I killed that ghost, and then it killed me, or something. Like, the ghost disappeared at some point when I died, around the time that I died. Because
did Richard die before you?
Yes.
Did you? Okay.
I think I did.
So then I don't know what happened.
It's possible maybe it just disappeared when Richard died.
Oh, no. I died first.
I think you... Did you?
I think I died first, and I was running around trying to figure things out, and then the ghost started chasing other people.
No, Sean died first.
I definitely died first.
I was trying to give you a flower garland, and you were running around away from
Oh, right.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
So Sean died first.
So I definitely died, and then I got confused because when I died, Abigail showed up, or whatever the sister's name is, and I thought that was still the ghost, and so I was really confused for a while. I don't know what happened to the ghost. It seems like when I died, the ghost also disappeared. I was attacking the ghost, so maybe I killed it and it killed me, or something happened. I don't know. But I'm not sure. Did you get a sense that, like, because the ghost followed you back to our camp, that put me and Robin in danger? Or could we have just safely ignored it and let the ghost kill you?
I have no idea. The problem is that if I die, that lowers your sanity anyway. So
That's true.
There's no good outcome in that case.
That's true. So we have an incentive to try to keep you alive anyway.
Yeah.
So there's definitely, like, if there is that kind of a conflict where I say don't dig up graves and you say no, the time is ripe, let's dig up graves now. There's not really anything that I can do to prevent you from doing that. And potentially that is ruinous to the whole party. But if it's ruinous to the whole party, I mean, it's not like you can Leroy Jenkins it, but you can't, like, grief us without getting yourself in trouble as well.
I feel like this applies to pretty much every decision you make in the game. It's not just about digging graves. It's, should I choose to gather food now so that I don't starve later?
Yeah.
Because if I starve, I'll slowly die and then eventually cause sanity problems for my friends.
Yep.
Or everything is about balancing your options, basically. And every option, like, everything that you ignore is another possible way that you can cause trouble for everyone. Mm-hmm. Because once you die, you negatively affect everyone else. Mm-hmm. So it comes down to a judgment call made by every individual player, as well as discussing it so that we have all of our bases covered.
Yeah, it's a very demanding game.
Yeah.
I mean, just, like, you know, to be able to survive is not easy. I think that's exactly the point, I guess. But when you put in the co-op stuff, like, there's a pressure on you to survive just so that you don't let down your team. Mm-hmm. Right?
That's true. It's interesting that there's like, I want to perform well for myself, and the moment that I died because of starvation, I I had this like pang of guilt, like, oh god, I've just like ruined it for everyone. And that's why I was constantly asking, is there a way that we can revive me? How do we revive me? Is it expensive?
Yep.
Because I was like, I was trying to like, how can I make this better? I'm just a ghost. I can't do anything.
Then you made me crazy, and I got chased by shadow pigs and died.
Yay.
I actually kind of wonder if you had disconnected from the server and then reconnected to the server, like, could you join a game in progress?
Oh, that's a good question. Is that a way to game the system?
I don't know. And I mean, just like if we had a fourth person who wanted to join, could they join a game that was already in progress? Would they show up at the warp point? I'm curious how the mechanics of that actually work.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, those games that have 20 people in them must have like people coming in and out all the time.
Yeah, sure. A public game absolutely would have to. Interesting.
Yeah.
Robin, I got a question about the apartment team's inspirations for the game. Do you want to talk about where that game actually comes from?
Ah, man. Where do we want to start with this one, Richard?
We were just writing about this like 2 hours ago.
Yeah, we're in the middle of writing a Gamma Sutra article or opinion piece that we'll probably put out Monday, I guess.
Cool.
The very first version of Apartment was a Groundhog's Day or Majora's Mask-esque time loop where we kind of had a theme of breaking out of your routine. And the routine in this case was a week or so where you were exploring the relationship you were currently in by wandering through your apartment complex, talking to these neighbors who had their own specific kind of schedules and getting a perspective on your relationship. And then at the end of every week, based on the information you gathered and your opinion of your own relationship, you decided whether you wanted to stay in the relationship or leave. And then you would kind of do another week and explore different neighbors and get a different perspective and keep making that decision over and over. But we found the impetus for that was kind of weak, and the general game design for that was kind of weak. So when we scrapped it, we went, well, let's just grab the bull by the horns and just say you got dumped. That's where you're at.
Yeah.
Deal with it. And I guess as far as actual real life inspirations, no one on our team went through a devastating breakup that prompted the game.
Not at the start of the game, but the game was in development for like 3 years.
Yeah, it's been in development for 3 years, so various teammates have had breakups and whatnot.
Sure.
But one of our biggest inspirations that we like is Dreams of a Life, which is a documentary about a woman called Carol Joyce Vincent. Or is it Carol Vincent Joyce? Carol Joyce Vincent, I think. She died in her apartment in London, and no one discovered her for 3 years, even though her TV was on. And the only reason they discovered her is because her auto bill payments finally stopped, and the power guys came by or something like that. And the idea that people live such separate lives that someone next door to you could be dead for 3 years, and even though their TV sound annoys you and you complain about to management, no one does anything about it, was kind of a big, sad, interesting idea that kind of sparked the whole being in an apartment complex with all these neighbors and different people.
Do you feel like, what's the name of the main character? I know all of the other characters, but Nick, that's right. Do you feel like Nick is that isolated? Like, do you imagine him as the person who could die in his apartment and nobody would find him for 3 years?
No, it was more that Nick, he's an artist. There's the whole thing about him, possibly he made up these stories about his neighbors. You don't really know. Maybe he actually knows them that well, but maybe it's all in his head. And so it's more of a Nick is sitting around moping, and one of the ways he's kind of tries to escape and seek solace is kind of projecting onto these other neighbors that he might not necessarily know, and kind of taking comfort in the fact that maybe the person next door has it bad too, just like me.
Yeah.
The character that I think most directly corresponds with Carol Joyce Vincent from Dreams of a Life is Jim. He's the one that moved like across country and has
drip.
connections. Yep,
yeah,
drip,
and his mailbox is full of mail. And
his bathtub is full of water. So I think he's like his vignette was the first one that we worked on when we decided to go in this direction.
Yeah,
and we took pretty strong like inspiration from Dreams of a Life to flesh out his character with this idea of what's it like to be isolated, what's it like to be lonely. And then build gameplay and write story about that.
And
take all
just
that
like
together.
Jim, kind of the worst part about Carol Joyce Benson's story is like she wasn't a drifter, or like, you know, she wasn't completely like, she had friends, she had coworkers, she had a family, but somehow she just went unnoticed, and it's really bizarre.
If you watch the documentary,
terrifying.
Yeah,
it's terrifying.
And I mean, Jim might not exactly be that person, but I think that's what he kind of fears, is that he just falls through the cracks.
Maybe the worst thing is that in that documentary, that Carol was kind of the life of the party kind of person. Like, she had tons of friends. It's not just that she was a normal person, like she wasn't depressed. It was that she was outgoing, and a lot of people liked her. She had lots of friends, and yet in the 3 year, like, no one tried to.
I totally have her name. It's Joyce Carol Vincent. That's
Joyce Carol Vincent.
There
okay.
we go.
Got it. Yeah. Wow. So, Robin, can I ask what do you consider the thread that ran through that original Groundhog's Day idea all the way to what the game is now? Because obviously it's changed a lot, but you would consider it the same game. It's got the same name. What do you think is what's the heart of this game that sort of has evolved over iterations?
Let's see. Well, we always wanted to be a story about just people.
Yeah.
The original characters are actually pretty much all intact. We had developed them pretty thoroughly for the first iteration of the game, and when we scrapped the game, they were the only thing that really survived and the thing that we built off of. So really, it's always been the idea, like, originally it was, am I settling in this relationship, or is this the relationship I want to be in? And to me, that's kind of a little bit still there. Like, is this the relationship for me? Should I be glad it's over? Or should I be trying to hold on to it super hardcore? And I guess writing the article that we were working on today kind of is the idea of the impact that all these relationships have on you. So the original one was, I'm wandering around this apartment talking to my neighbors, seeing what their opinion might be of my significant other, but also about the things they're going through and how they relate to what I'm going through and how I can apply these lessons to what I'm going through. And that's still kind of the idea there, is like this network of neighbors. They have very different kinds of relationships. Not all of them are romantic. There's the father-daughter. There's Jim, who kind of has no relationships, and that's a problem. But they all kind of tie back into Nick's reflections on Madison and their relationship. These are all aspects that are kind of universal.
Yeah. That makes sense. I like that. I like games that are about that.
Games? Oh man, Richard, there are games, plural. We're behind.
There's more than one?
Okay, switching back to Don't Starve. Do you guys feel like co-op or team-based games like this are more enjoyable when you're playing with other people that you know, who have similar experiences, expectations, and skill levels, or when you play with unknowns who might have very different levels of experience, expectations, and skill levels?
I like playing with people I know better, because then when I do stupid stuff, they just know it's me doing stupid stuff.
That's all about expectations.
Yeah, right.
So, I think it depends on the game. Some games are really great for playing with people that I don't know. Not that I don't think I would ever consciously make the decision, like, I'm going to play with strangers over playing with friends, but there are certain games that work really well with strangers, like Left 4 Dead, where it's co-op and we're working together, and it really doesn't matter how good the other player is as long as they're not dying, and even if they die, we can revive them. So there's not a high level of punishment if their skill level is far beneath mine. Versus, I guess, a game like Don't Starve, if you screw up, then potentially I'll get mad at you, maybe. Or someone might get mad at me if I screw up. So there's that element to it.
Yeah.
I think that really comes across in games like League of Legends and Dota, where the community is like, will flame each other if they do something slightly wrong, because it's all about, optimizing your strategy.
It's performance. Yeah. I mean, I gotta say, I definitely prefer, personally, it feels like a personal decision, I guess, Like, it feels very subjective. Personally, I definitely prefer playing with people that I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I just find that more fun. And it's because I enjoy playing as a bonding experience. Like, now this is something that the three of us have experienced together, and we can sort of have conversations about this. And I enjoy that. I feel like it is a part of our relationship. Whereas I think the experience of playing online with strangers on like a public server or a game where people are anonymous, like there's something interesting in a like people watching sort of a space where you never know what people are going to do, and maybe you find somebody who's really good at the game and you get to see like somebody play really well, but there's a sense of chance to that, which I can understand would be exciting to people, but that's not something that I get excited about. I think like the idea of playing multiplayer games with people that I don't know just doesn't. I don't do it very often. I almost never do it because it doesn't sound that appealing.
So, Sean, do you remember the game Die Tonight? It was that web-based game where it's a zombie apocalypse and you're trying to build a community together. Not sure if you remember it. We played it for a very short period of time.
Okay, I don't remember a zombie game. Die Tonight. No, I'll have to look it up.
Okay, so we did play. I think I introduced it to you, and we played for a short time. And I think that was a game that you were really interested in because you get put into a colony of humans, and there's only, I think there's 40 people, and there's a maximum of like 6 people that know. You can invite maybe 6 people into that colony. And that was a really interesting cooperative experience where you had to manage other people's behavior, you had to manage your resources collaboratively. And I think, I'm not really sure exactly why, but a big part of the appeal was I have to work together with these people that I don't know.
Right. I definitely really sure this isn't like ringing a bell, Richard, really. But I am familiar with games kind of like this, that are, similar sorts of things where because is it this like it's some kind of a like you have a limited number of actions in a day or something like that. Yeah. So I've definitely played other games like that, and there is something very intriguing, and I can understand why you and I might have talked about this. There's something very intriguing to me about this as an idea, but as actually a game, like as something for me to spend time on, I think I quickly lose interest.
And I think that's what happened.
I think that's probably exactly what happened.
You probably don't remember it, probably because we played for like 2 days.
Yeah.
And we're just like, we can't handle all these strangers who don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, so I used to play WoW, and I really enjoyed WoW for the fact that it was strangers. It was a really fun way to meet people. I played on a player versus environment server, which is the Care Bear server, and I generally found like people were pretty pleasant, even the teenage boys. And so they'd just be like, "Hey, I'm doing this thing. Are you doing this thing?" And you'd be like, "Yeah." And then you just like hang out with this random person and kill spiders and collect spider legs for like an hour. And it was like a weirdly nice display of people being cooperative. And even like when you ran to players on the opposite side, you would like make faces and dance at them, and then you'd like go on your way. And it was just a really weird positive experience with strangers, sometimes cooperative. That was the main reason I played it for so long.
I think that's awesome, Robin. And I feel like a PvE game like that, I feel like WoW is probably really heavily designed towards that experience of strangers coming together and having a like positive cooperative experience. Because there's like, are there ways that you could subvert that as a player? Are there things that you can do to just like on a PvE server, like fuck up other people's shit?
Yeah, so occasionally, we're talking about World of Warcraft. I think people have so occasionally I remember you could engage in certain areas into combat, and there are ways where people would accidentally get tagged to be
Mm-hmm.
player versus player, and then there'd be like the really high level people who would just kind of cream you and like spawn camp occasionally too. But
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot hard. Like PvE is built so it's a lot harder to do unless you decide to engage. So
Mm-hmm.
um,
I could see
yeah,
with MMOs things like kill stealing or like stealing other people's loot is a thing, but I think
it's
World of
true.
Warcraft handled that eventually. I'm not sure if like
I
they
think
solved that
I
problem,
think
but
their monsters respawn so fast that it actually ended up being this thing where you'd see a lot of people going after the bosses, and if you couldn't get into their party fast enough to have it count for you, you'd actually find people, you'd help them kill the monster, and then they might hang out and wait and help you kill the monster, and those
oh,
kind
that's
of
cool.
things too.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
That's good. Sounds like you found a really good server.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, this was like 8 years ago, so maybe it
Yeah.
sucks now.
Did either of you ever play Guild Wars 2?
I played a little bit.
I have done very little MMO playing personally, but I played a little bit of Guild Wars 2 for a while. Guild Wars 2 is like super designed around the idea that like it doesn't have any loot stealing or kill stealing. Like everybody in the general vicinity of a kill gets experience for it. It's got a lot of like really cooperatively focused mechanics. I mean, I think it's just interesting that a game can do that, right? The mechanics of the game can heavily influence what the dynamics between players are going to be by encouraging that kind of cooperative behavior or punishing anti-cooperative, like antisocial behavior. I feel like that's what Don't Starve does. If you're antisocial in Don't Starve, I feel like it goes badly for you. Which is funny because in the middle of the game tonight, I was sort of on the other side. I sort of felt like maybe it would be better to just wander off on your own and ignore the other players, and you would get by better. But I definitely think in this last, like our third game or whatever it was, where we managed to build a farm, like that, I felt like we were operating together at a level where our cooperation really, really helped.
I mean, there's the universal like ghost insanity issue with not
Yeah.
cooperating, but I'm curious because from playing Don't Starve, I don't remember it being all that much different from Don't Starve Together. Like I felt if I wandered off on my own, I could play it just as I did the normal single player version.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are definitely pros and cons to playing together and Don't Starve Together, but I didn't feel like they actually created any, or I don't feel they created very many, at least, mechanics that cohesively made it a multiplayer game.
My big question is, did they rebalance how difficult the game was, or like the spawn rates of different things based on like we have 3 players versus 1?
Versus 1 or 20.
Yeah, exactly. So
It didn't seem like it just from observation, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
Don't
not very
Starve-
experienced, but I
Don't
agree.
Starve was about as like full of things as Don't Starve Together with our playthrough.
From my
From
memory.
what I could tell, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting, which means then really the only mechanically important thing in terms of the environment is, well, if I harvest this bush, then you can't harvest that bush.
Right.
If I build a campfire, you can use my campfire.
Right.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Mhm.
But there are a lot of, between like the science machine and the campfires, I mean, farms don't count because they only produce at a certain rate, but there are a number of elements in the game that once you build them, anybody can benefit from them.
Mm.
And so it seems like, you know, at the very least, a group of people may be coming to, like, maybe the thing that would make the most sense is that we have like a town square, and then we each have our own area of the world that we can go off and forage in, and then build a farm in and survive in, and then come back to the town square in the middle and build, you know, our fire pits and our science machines and all of the things that everybody can benefit from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm curious if so with that we add a little travel time to like having access to our things.
It's true.
I wonder if that will add up in some kind of negative way.
Right.
I'm also curious if I lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? With having 3 players versus 1. Oh yeah, I wonder if the difficulty curve is different. We only played 5 days, I think,
Something like
before
that.
we died each time.
Yep.
I wonder if there's a ramp where things get harder as it progresses, because it seemed like we were approaching a point where the game would actually get fairly easy.
Right.
We had food being produced. We
Right.
could go forage for things. So.
Yep.
I felt
I'm
like we were
wondering if
stripping
humans-
a lot of our food away, though. The food foraging end.
I felt like we were on the cusp of something that that like if we could push over the edge and get that farm to actually produce, then we would be set. Like then it gets easy from there. But I don't know that we were actually. I don't know how close we were to getting it to produce, and I don't know that we could have survived to that point without destroying the landscape around us to the point where we just didn't have any food left.
So is this a game about strip mining and deforestation?
I really honestly wonder. What is the procedural rhetoric of this game? What does the game teach us?
The first thing I thought of was, what would you do if you were stranded on a desert island, sort of thing? Because we're surrounded by water, right?
Do not make a fucking camp. That is the sucker's way.
Find all the things, find all the edible things, take them all.
Yeah.
And then there's no more edible things.
Yeah, and then you starve.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's definitely something to the game that settling down too quickly or too much is bad news. Like survival is keeping on the move.
Yeah, for sure. Maintaining sustainability throughout. Oh, I just read in the chat. Apparently winter comes at 20 days.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, and apparently our cute furry friends go mad. I think I remember hearing
For a
about
single
that.
day at either day 16 or 17.
And I love them. Why would they do that?
The beefalo.
Okay, alright.
The odds are stacked against us, gentlemen.
It's true.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, the thing that makes me... So there was a question that I will pose to you guys, but I'm going to answer it first. Did you enjoy the game? Do you see yourself coming back to it? I enjoyed this experience, and I would definitely get together with you guys and play again because it's fun to hang out. But I don't see myself tomorrow night firing up Don't Starve and digging into it. And if I did, I think I would spend a couple hours on the Don't Starve wiki first, because the part of the game where on day 16 all of a sudden the buffalo go crazy and kill me, and now I've lost 4 hours of playing the game, the world's gone. That doesn't appeal to me a whole lot. I think that just frustrates the hell out of me.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I think when I first played DayZ, I was like, this is cool, and then I died, and I was like, this is still cool, and then I died, and then I was like, I guess I need to read up on this a little bit. I think I agree. Don't Starve isn't a game that I would necessarily play too much on my own, but the cooperative element and the dynamics between the players and just being able to hang out and say, I found a garden gnome, or I'm being chased by spiders or whatever, that's super fun.
Yeah, I agree. The cooperative element was the only reason I'd come back to this one. I always like these games in theory. I think the problem with Don't Starve, unlike with, say, Minecraft or Terraria, is Minecraft or Terraria makes it really easy to not only do the building survival end, but also to actually explore and get rewarded for exploring.
Yeah.
Whereas here it's I'm so busy starving, and there's a cool thing over there, oh, it's gonna kill me, and I have no way to defend myself, and bye.
Yep.
I need more loot. I need more sweet loot.
Yeah, there's the difficulty, like, just to get by in Don't Starve seems much higher than in, like, Terraria.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Huh. Cool. Well, I think we're going to wrap up. Do you guys have any final comments?
Nope. Just please check out our Kickstarter if you haven't already. You got like 3 days left.
No, seriously. Yeah, I think it's 3 days. So check out the YouTube video of me playing Apartment if you haven't seen it yet. I really, really, really liked that game, and I want it to get released so that more people can play it. And I'm excited about the additional art and music and stuff that you guys want to create for it. So definitely go to that link in the corner, apartmentgade.me. It's a difficult URL to say out loud.
Say out loud. It's just apartment game.
Okay, all right.
.me.
with a dot in it somewhere. Check that out. Check out the Kickstarter. Tell your friends. Sad games are the best.
They are, and thanks for watching us and putting up with our hijinks. It was Richard's and my first time streaming, so.
Well, thanks for being willing to be guinea pigs for this and joining me tonight. This was a lot of fun. We should definitely do it again.
Monaco!
Totally. Monaco, yes.
That sounds great. I'll be back on Wednesday, normal time, 9 o'clock, continuing to play The Novelist, which is a really interesting game, it turns out.
Oh yeah, how are you liking that so far?
I like it quite a bit. Like, it's got some rough edges, and the writing is a little thin.
Yeah.
But I like the idea quite a bit, and I enjoy sort of the decision-making part of it, which is the core of it, it feels like. So
I'll have to talk to you about it when you're done.
I look forward to that. Yeah, so I'll be continuing that on Wednesday. Don't forget about Sunday Game Club is tomorrow at 8 o'clock Pacific time. I don't know what's happening. Thanarod is maybe starting a new game or continuing Kingdom Hearts or something like that. But regardless, it should be a fun time. So thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Robin, Richard, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you all later.
Thanks for having us. Bye, guys.
Bye.
There we go.